is Dr. Ramesh P.R. Warrior. So may I request you to please come onto the dais. Dr. Ramesh P.R. Warrior is the CMO and Superintendent of Kottakkal Arya Vaidyashala, Kakarduma, Delhi. He will be speaking on difficulties in practicing classical Ayurveda, reasons and perceptions.
Thank you. Respected Chairperson, other dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Good evening for everybody. I pay homage to Lord Dhanvantari and our founder also. I'll just start with my paper. The difficulties in practicing classical Ayurveda, reasons and perceptions. I'm just trying to explain what is the health scenario, because sir has already explained about non-communicable lifestyle disorders and all. Earlier also so many. So what is the present health scenario and where we stand, how difficult it is for us to practice classical Ayurveda if we analyze the changes which has happened in the Pada Chatushtaya. I will try to move as quickly as possible. So here, this is from Punarva Swatraya. The science of life shall never attain finality, hence humility and relentless effort should characterize your endeavor and your approach to knowledge. The entire world consists of teachers for the wise and the enemies for the fools. Therefore, knowledge conducive to health, longevity, fame and excellence, coming even from an unfamiliar source, should also be received, assimilated and utilized with earnestness. This is our classical text say. And now, if you see Ayurveda, here we can see the holistic approach, what sir was talking about. Nityam hitahara vihara sevi, samikshagaris, vishayeshva sakta, dadapara satyavara shamavan, aptoba sevicha bhavatyaru. One who enjoys wholesome food, activity every day, who introspects on his actions, who is unattached, who is generous, who looks on all with equal eye, who is truthful and forgiving, who delights in the service of virtuous men, he remains free from ailments. This is the psychosomatic approach and the holistic approach. We all know that. But now, what is the present health scenario? See, this is the word of WHO Director General. The 21st century major concerns are unplanned urbanization and globalization of unhealthy lifestyles, and then here comes demographic aging. So here, because of these three factors, universal rise in chronic non-communicable disorders like cancer, heart problems, musculoskeletal issues, degenerative, you are all the health fraternity sitting here. So here, a single system, especially a modern medical system, is very effective in direct cause and effect relationship and its management and all. But in chronic lifestyle disorders, one single system cannot do anything. So there comes the relevance of systems like Ayurveda, yoga and other. Here again, the WHO says that, 2.5 billion population increase by 2050 is contributed by India, Nigeria, Pakistan, Democratic Republic of Congo. So we have controlled death and death and prolonged our lifespan. This graph also says the same thing. You can see that the pyramid shape is now acquiring a rectangular shape because our health, the population is increasing and their longevity, living lifespan also is increased. Here again, in 21st century, there is a transition of disease. Why I am telling that, then only we will realize how difficult it is to practice classical Ayurveda. Here, the transition of acute death to chronic ailment. Here you can see that from heart attack it has become heart failure, stroke has become vascular dementia, diabetic, not death, diabetic, death has become diabetic life, chronic lifestyle, and then the HIV death to HIV life. Here again, if you see, here it is the pink part is the chronic ill health, and then comes chronic ill health with disability, and comes chronic ill health, disability and dementia. So this is the kind of patients that a Ayurveda person deals with. I am specifically referring Arya-Vaidyashala's case because we get patients with chronic lifestyle disorders from all over India, and more than 52 countries people come there. So all will be having lot of complications, and this is the real picture of people who come. And here, this also we all know, we can, because this is the, accumulated glycated products, end products. We know that we all test glycosylated hemoglobin in diabetes. So this is true in many of the ailment. We can call it ama or dushi visha according to Ayurvedic terminology. But it is a fact that here the study shows that the total ingested age, 10% in the total blood, the 10% ingested age is eliminated only 30% from our body. And if you have a normal kidney functions, 30% will be eliminated, but rest is accumulated. So it is also an accumulating thing, and you can see that the age contributes to all systems, central nervous system, stroke, Alzheimer's, etc., cardiovascular system, atherosclerosis, heart failure, etc. Other disorders like skin aging, diabetic neuropathy. Then comes the musculoskeletal rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, disc degeneration, kidney problems, liver issues, pulmonary fibrosis, and ophthalmic. And so almost all diseases, this age is contributing for that. So a person coming with many complications will be having all these things. And yes, this is also this. I am not telling anything against any system, but this is a fact. This is a published paper in JAMA, where in prescription drugs are the fourth leading cause of death in USA. This is a study because it is a prescription drugs, not the OTC things. Prescription drugs, because of the interaction, the death. What they say that more than Vietnam War and Second World War per year, more people are dying with because of the interactions of medicines. So if you come back to Ayurveda, you can see that the etiological factors have completely changed. Increased prevalence of lifestyle disorders, environmental and stress-related diseases have changed the outlook of etiology. So all these are contributing factors. Janapadodvamsaniyam, Swasthavritam, as Sir was telling, and Pratyaparatham, geriatrics, and iatrogenic diseases. If we analyze according to Ayurveda, the Dashavitha Pariksha, if you see Dushyam, Desham, Balam, Kalam, Analam, Prakritim, Vaya, Sattvam, Satmyam, Aharam, everything, if you analyze a patient, the influence of the etiological thing, whatever we have done. So the lifestyle, diet, chemical medicines influence, it is seen in each patient. In Desham again, environment pollution, urbanization and all. Balam, you can see that people coming with they use immunosuppressants in autoimmune problems and all immunosuppressants. This is very much altered in many ways. The Rogi Balam as well as Roga Balam also might have suppressed, but it is a factor. And then Kalam, Analam, Prakriti again, I have worked in cancer patients for 7 years. There a Kapha Prakriti person is turned into Vata Prakriti after a chemotherapy. It is a cytotoxic drug which acts at DNA level. So the Prakriti also is alters with strong chemical medicines which act as DNA level. And then Vaya, Sattvam, Satmya, everywhere the influence is seen. I just wanted to tell that. And if you take the Aharam, you can see that the Viruddhahar everywhere, the new culture that we have, the fast food and junk food culture, a lot of Viruddhahar mixing is coming, and the age that accumulated glycated factor is increasing. So, so many irrational combinations, irregular timing is a part of the life of modern person. So now, if you assess, because I am talking about practical things, if you see our older generation physicians, they will be mainly seeing these group of people, hemiplegia, facial palsy, arthritis, non-specific neuropathies, post-polio residual palsy, loss of hearing, unnamed rheumatic complaints. Only the list comes only this. Whereas if you see the modern physician has a lot of things we know. I need not tell the paralysis of varied etiology, myopathies, myelopathies, dementia, so autoimmune type of problems, degenerative type of motor neuron disorders, progressive supranuclear palsy, age-related issues, chronic liver disorders, chronic kidney failures. All these come to modern because there is no cure. So the quality of improvement is the only this thing. So sometimes modern medicine has limitations. So they, I mean, considering the hopes, new hopes are there, they come for Ayurveda, other systems, yoga and all. So we have to treat, we have to address these issues. Again, so, I'm sorry. Yes, if you see the prognosis, we all know, I need not explain this, Sadhya and Asadhya Rogas are there, Sukha Sadhya and Krichra Sadhya. Here it comes Yapya and Anupakrama. So if you analyze the diseases which come, the chronic non-communicable lifestyle disorders which come to us, by that time they might have either become only Yapya, manageable, or Anupakrama. So this is the real scenario that we, the health scenario that Ayurvedic, a modern Ayurvedic physician see. And if you see the Chikitsa, because we are talking about classical Ayurveda, the Chikitsa broadly classified, I quickly go, you know all these things. This is actually Shodhanam, Shamanam, Aharam, Acharam. Aharam, Acharam we all know, lifestyles. And the Shamana Chikitsa also we know, Deepanam, Pachanam, Chud Nigraham, Trishna Nigraham, Vyayamam, Atapa Seva, Maruta Seva. Here this is the surgical procedures that also we know. When you come here, this is the Andha Parimarjanam, the Panchakarma Chikitsa, and this is the Bahi Parimarjana Chikitsa. In that the Abhyangam, the Antariga Snehapanam, Abhyangam like things, and then Swedanam. This comes the Bahi Parimarjana part, the Purva Karmas, and the Andha Parimarjanam comes the Vamana Virechana, Vasti, Nasyam and all those things. And if you analyze classical treatment, total care of a person involves the Soma, bodily approach, psych, mind, social and spiritual. This is the total care. This is the classical care of a treatment. But again, if you analyze Pada Chadushtayam, now we are the subject. In Pada Chadushtayam, you know the physician, nurse, drug and the patient. So all this has their own qualities, then only the Chikitsa becomes perfect. But if you see the Pada Chadushtayam in today's perspective, you can see the physician's aspirations, knowledge, practical experience, survival in a condition of medical pluralism. Because it's a struggle for existence. Because different system, you know that in a practicing world, you know that. So, and the patient has high expectations, they have internet knowledge, tolerance level is low, influenced by advertisements and all, medical pluralism, again, many medicines, influenced by consumer marketing strategies. And attendant again the knowledge on Panchakarma and its attitude, hygiene and commitment. These are very important, but these are all altered in the present scenario. And medicine, the non-compliance due to the palatability of especially Ayurvedic medicines and the genuinity and scarcity of raw materials, and then the contamination of raw materials by pesticide, heavy metals and such things, and the marketing strategies also influence the patients. Now, here, if we say the qualities of a physician, I'll just quickly go through these things. Sushruta Acharya very clearly tells that the patient may distrust mother, father, sons, relatives and all. But he puts himself to physician's hands. with full belief. So the physician should safeguard him like a son. And again, Ashtanga Hridayam Vagbhadacharya says, glory to physicians of noble conduct, keen understanding of medical texts, glory to physicians whose practical experience is profound, glory to physicians who regard all living beings as their own children and friends. And again, Charakacharya very clearly tells that Jnana Buddhi Pradipena yo na avishadi tattvavit aturasya andaratmanam. The physician who is not entering the inner conscience of the patient with the lamp of knowledge and spiritual intelligence is not really treating the ailment in true sense. And again, the modern medicine, Sir William Osler says that medicine arose out of primal sympathy of man with man, out of desire to help those in sorrow, needing sickness. So our question is that we have to introspect ourselves, how effectively and friendly, compassionate we are in this age to our patient. So the physician need to rethink about ourselves. But at the same time, Dr. Madhavan Kutty, who is the ex-principal of Calicut Medical College, who has written a textbook of physiology, he mentions about modern physician. Today the physician is no longer a friend, philosopher or guide. The ultra-modern medical scientist is a sleek, streamlined, electronically oriented, gadget-conscious, computerized automation who does not and cannot work alone. When he starts looking at the patient from a narrow angle as a machine composed of many systems and hope that it can be repaired by correcting the local manifest of faults, he causes a big slide in the value system of medicine and irretrievable damage, which is already discussed here, the physician's approach to a patient and all. But I just want, but this is not a criticism, this is just to self-evaluate ourselves, what we are, who we are, how we are interacting with our patients. And here again, our challenges, modern Ayurvedic physicians have a lot of challenges, which is what we are going to discuss. That is also important, that also negatively affects the classical practice. By mastering one branch of science, a person does not comprehend science. A physician then should understand many systems. Next, yes. Here, the modern physician needs an updated knowledge in medicines, diagnostic methods, professional terms, interpretation, etc. Why? Because why I am telling you, the next slide will tell you. It is for the safety of the patient as well as safety of yourself also. If you interpret in a language which is acceptable by a patient, because when we say about Ayurvedic terminology, sometimes a modern patient may not be able to understand fully that. So we need to make them understand and convince them. That is very, very important. Otherwise, patient satisfaction or quality of life we cannot expect. See, here again the conflicts between the concepts and approach of generation gap, the old generation physician and new generation physician. There is an internal clash. That means the traditional trainers, classical methods, they always prefer. New generation, Western biomedical models, they always prefer to do. So this also has to be discussed in order to improve ourselves. And should be careful about drug-drug interaction, diet-drug interactions, as doctor shopping and system shuttling is very, very common. So one patient will be taking homeopathic medicine, allopathic medicines, Ayurvedic medicines, Siddha medicines, I will be doing some other combinations also, we don't know. So we should be very much careful when you treat in the modern scenario. So you have to know what they are taking. The next slide tells about those things and convincing them also, because if you are not in a position to convince a patient what you are planning to do and what all things we are expecting to achieve with this treatment, the patient satisfaction you won't get, especially in chronic patients, very educated patients. And regarding patients, I will tell, this is about physicians. And here you can see that the patient safety as per NABH stand, because I am also a member in the technical committee, so a lot of patient safety standards they are insisting. So if you do that, so many things we have to do. For example, in the case of Snehapanam, we knew in Panchakarma, the patient's education is very, very important. Unless and until the patient is mentally not prepared, he won't complete the Snehapanam course. And the cholesterol, LFT, KFT, cardiac status, this has to be assessed. Because so the patient is otherwise skeptical. I am a cholesterol patient, whether if you give this much ghee, how will be. So we have to convince them, we have to tell them, and we have to tell them the data that we have observed these things, and you won't have any problem. We will monitor everything. So this is good. And Swedanam, again, heat tolerance, allergy, skin sensitivity, everything is very, very important, because people who have so many allergies nowadays, even a simple heat application with a hot oil can create problem for them. And then Vamanam, the cardiac status, again the Vamanam, the patient will be having so many complications, so we have to be very careful. Virechanam and Vasti, the GI tract assessment, especially in gastritis and such conditions, when you give Virechana Aushadha or Vasti, it can create complications, so you have to be careful. And again the Patyakrama, you all know, Bhojyannam Matraya Pasyan, Shwap Piban Pedavanabi, Dravoshnam Anabhishyandi, Na Adhisnigdam Asankaram, Ushnodagopachari Syad, Brahmachari, Kshapashaya, Na Vegarotha Vyayama, Krotha Shoka Himatapan. You know all these things. But how many of us are strictly following all these things when the classical Panchakarma is going on? It is very difficult. Sometimes patients also may not cooperate with us. An increase in the cost, labor, raw material, medicines, and other overheads like in hospitals, when I will come next in the hospital, water, power, everything, law of the land increase. So cost also increases, and safety measures for Jaluka, bloodletting, take precautions of hepatitis and stop anticoagulants. Patient, if they are on anticoagulant, this is very important. Why I am telling you, in NABH there was a problem. They were discussing about how we will dispose the Jaluka. The Jaluka, earlier we used to reuse those things, but in the context of hepatitis and all, there is a risk, and if you throw it away also there is a problem. So it is a very serious, we are talking about the practice of classical Ayurveda, but I visit Duisburg-Essen University, Germany. I have seen a wonderful thing there, which I just wanted to share with you. See, in Germany, natural medicine doctors, allopathic doctors, and Ayurvedic physicians are extensively using Jaluka. What they have done extensive research, they have published book, published papers are there. Now, this time when I visited there, I saw a thing, if you pay 5 euros, you will get unused Jaluka, because Jaluka farms are there. From there, you will get unused sterile Jaluka, what we call, and you can use it, and they will provide you a disposable jar. You can dispose only in this, and they will take it back and they will keep it for natural death. Earlier they were killing them, but because of this animal protection group and all, now they are keeping it in another pond without mixing for natural death. So we have to seriously think about these kind of practices for the safety measures of the patients and for us also. And now again the transformation of hospitals also have affected the practice, both positively and negatively. I am not telling everything negative. Earlier it was home, Panchakarma, everything was done. Then village clinic came, then local hospital came. Now even for Panchakarma also specialty clinics are there. So here in a way it is positive. We can do everything in a proper way, proper medical assistance can be given, but at the same time the cost factor also goes up. And in a nutshell, human nature is like these stages of transition. From here we have become a computer oriented creature now. Just a minute. Next slide please. It's not working. Next to that. Yes. Yes. So now we are going to patient side. Before that, in patient, the stress is a very, very big. This is a cartoon, this thing, the zebra thinks that this thing is happening with stress. So it is true. If any patient come to you, you see that the stress will be a very, very important either work pressure or environment, this thing, family pressure, something like that will be there. But if you see the new generation patients, the patient, I am talking about now, the physician is over, now the Pada Chatushtayam patient comes, more enlightened about medical condition, they are, and aware about the rights to know about the decisions by the physicians and scope and limitations of therapy. So we have to convince them. Doctor shopping system shuttling is very, very, very common. And misconcept, this is also very, very important. If you are practicing, you will be knowing, especially people coming from abroad, they will be having their own mindset, their own concept about Ayurveda, Prakriti, Tridosha, pulse diagnosis, Panchakarma, detoxification, Rasayana. It is very difficult to convince them because the practical way what we do, they don't know. So they will think about, no, not like that, and so many kind of interpretations will be there. So it is a difficult thing to make it, the classical practice. And the patient's demand for treatment. I want Shirodhara or I want Navarakali, something like that. But the physician has to decide and convince them. Our convincing power also is very important. And another important part is medical tourism. What the Ayurvedic, many areas we very sadly see that they are no qualified physicians. They do Shirodhara and go to beach for a Samudra Snan. And like that, so many things. So what I am afraid of is that after some time, somebody will have a study and say that the Ayurvedic treatment is creating a problem. So we are not observing the classical pathyas what acharyas have told. So they will be having some in Lancet, it may come telling that this therapy is not good. It is because of the lack of awareness and these kind of things. And strong likes and dislikes of patient, cholesterol phobia. A patient who is having cholesterol, they never want to have Snehapana. So we may have to tell them and convince them, then only they will be able to do. And the Sada Aturas, we know that Charaka Samhita, it is very clearly mentioned about king soldiers, priests and prostitutes, because their time is not in their hand. So the excitation and inhibition of natural urges, because the time is not in their hand, so it is a part of their life and they become Sadaturas. Athunika, a modern person, is a Sadadura group person because he is busy, he has no time to do anything, so he comes in that group. Yes, and regarding nurse, I need not tell, because for Ayurvedishala also we don't get qualified people. There are no institutions where quality training and trained people we are not getting. So we are training people, we are training ourselves, and the quality of training also is very important. Many institutions are doing that, but the quality of training, a lack of practical knowledge and attitude and accountability, that is very important in nursing staff. Because if they don't have that attitude and this thing, we won't get a good result with it. And then hygiene aspect also, that is it. And the medicine, the availability of genuine raw materials, problems in cultivation, collection, storage, distribution, pollution of pesticides, which I have already mentioned. And there is another thing, genetically modified herbs are coming now and tissue cultured herbs are coming now. Because in the practical, it has got both positive and negative thing. Because I have heard, sir, actually genetically modified thing have good quality in certain groups, which have to be debated. I am not going to the details, and tissue culture thing don't have the preferred alkaloids in that. So we need to seriously think about, the Ayurvedic fraternity has to seriously think about these things. And manufacturing issues like proper proportion and genuine ingredients, proper processing and quality assurance, proper, these are all very important. We have so many manufacturers, everything, but we have to insist upon quality in each sector, and high dosage forms an inconvenience in handling the medicine, and bad taste is again negative, this thing, and marketed by advertisements, and legal issues, because there are so many good medicines, which opioid medicines in cancer therapies and all, but because of the legal issues, we are not in a position to use it fully. And this is just to show the advertisements. And then again, the physician and the drug, This is also a negative on positive factor as far as practice is concerned. See, here the therapeutic, a physician who know the dosage and the timing of administration is much more higher physician, good physician than a physician simply combines different combinations of drugs. And then here again, this is a classical treatment described in Ashtanga Hridayam in Kushta Chikitsa. Emesis in every fortnightly, purgation or enema monthly intervals, erines at nasya at intervals of 3 days, and bloodletting at half yearly. This is the classical principle of in Kushta Chikitsa, which we may not be able to do in a modern era. And then here again, fever. This is the integrative, holistic approach of Ayurveda. So the pure and compassionate mindset pacifies all types of fever. But we don't have time to do all these things. And then again the individual, Purusham Vikshya, Satnyeyo Bhishakuttama. Charakacharya very clearly tells about the individual, which Sir has already mentioned, individual therapy. The importance of individual therapy, which is also, and Shuddha Chikitsa, Shuddha Chikitsa, you all know, therapeutics which settles one disease but triggers another is a flawed practice. But proper treatment settles the primary disease but gives rise to no another disease. And again, when we come to treatment approaches, there are different. In classical Ayurveda, what we generally do is restore the dynamic balance and then observe. Because keep a watchful waiting, stimulate the innate healing potentials and proceed for the next phase, and a convalescent period is given. It is called Nallarika in Malayalam. It is the, after the purificatory therapy, the Samsarjana Kriya, and the patient gives a rest to the body to have a recouping time. Whereas, and the physician decides that and the patient adheres to that. Whereas nowadays, the patient values aggressive treatment. They want 3 treatments a day and they don't want to wait. So this is a practical difficulty that, and patient put pressure on physician for intense therapy and more frequency for want of time. And again, convalescent period is compromised because of work pressure. I cannot take rest this much and I have to work. So please, so that is also a negative impact for classical treatment. And then compromise on treatments for insurance coverage. I don't have insurance coverage for that therapy, please don't give that. So what can we do? This kind of things put pressure on physician, and then patient's attitude also changes. So these are all negative factors which affects classical Ayurveda. I'm talking about the difficulties in practicing practical Ayurveda. And again, we know the Shat Kriya Kal and Shodhana Chikitsa. Almost all patients come with chronic ailment, but Kriya Kalam Adhikramya, they come. So what can we do? This Kriya Kal we don't get. And so we cannot do much in that. And then these are all very simple slides. Again, in the case of education, scholars are here, I need not tell that. But what my humble request is that lack of knowledge in Sanskrit and the interpretation of dosha, dhadu, panchamahabhuta, rasaguna, virya, vipaga, this basic science, we are all trained in basic science. Basic science is sufficient to understand modern medicine. Whereas, like Swami Vivekananda tell, Eastern and Western medicines grossly different. Sir was telling about the internal vision. So the vision turned inward is Ayurveda, epistemology, Ayurveda discuss about everything internal. So that vision we need to develop, then only we will be able to understand Ayurveda really. Vision turned outward is the Western culture. And standards of teaching, practical training, everything. And transition of diseases, because in the syllabus also, I think proper updation is needed. For example, in the case of muscular dystrophy, very commonly people come, we diagnose it Mamsagata Vada Vyadhi, does not convey any meaning. Because there should be a bridging, there should be a national authority to analyze these things, and it has to be incorporated, and everybody has to be. So that is, Sir was telling, without any prejudice, have a discussion and have a line of thought, and this, no standard interpretations are available. This also, and then these are all research papers I was just mentioning about. This is actually the CSIR has done, the Genomics and Institute of Molecular Biology have done. what they have done, the Prakriti analysis, and the final conclusion is that an integration of Ayurveda with genomics holds potential and promise for future predictive medicine. So, and another thing is managing morph. This is my paper. I actually worked in cancer patients 7 years, and my paper on morphine-induced concept, this was published in Elsevier Science Series, US Cancer Society, Journal of Pain and Symptom Management. And another thing is that the psychological mechanism of traditional healing technique performed by healing robot. This is done in Tokyo Denki University regarding Shirodhara. How Shirodhara works scientifically, they have a paper. And another thing, the effective, this is in Germany, effectiveness of leech therapy in osteoarthritis. They very clearly published paper is that how it is helping the patient to improve their quality of life. There are so many other research, hepatoprotective properties, effect of Panchakarma on immune system and all, effect of Rasayana medicine on DNA repair, and physicochemical properties of heavy metal preparations. This is the next thing. Kottakkal Ayurvedishala is very much involved, which was done in BH, it seems. The in vivo's effects of traditional Ayurvedic formulation, Drosophila model. So this has shown that the Avalaki Rasayan has helped in repairing the DNA, double-strand DNA damage. At the same time, the Rasasinthur, which is a metallic preparation, when it is classically prepared, it becomes nanoparticles and does not affect kidney. So these kind of research leads need to be updated, and it has to be included in the syllabus, and the young generation should get confidence that our system also is getting researched and it can be interpreted in this way. There is no need to worry about so many things. So that kind of incorporation of the research results in the curriculum, and these things also negatively affects in the confidence level of young physicians, this it seems. So then what is the solution? Because good manufacturing, good cultivation practice, good collection, good clinical, all these are true, but I feel that collective and coordinated effect of Ayurvedic fraternity to implement standards in each sector like education, research, practice, cultivation, collection, manufacturing, with the help of government, universities, hospitals and industry is very much, a coordination is very much needed. Finally, to end this thing, I have made the SWOT analysis of our, what is Ayurveda SWOT analysis. Strength, weakness and all, and I am going to end this with 3-4 slides. Here, the strength is rich in concepts. Our system is very rich in concepts. Psychosomatic approach, preventive treatment aspects, immunomodulators, and hepatoprotective, able to complement with other systems of medicine, and Rasayana, geriatrics, Panchakarma, and Marma, Kshara. So these are all unique therapies of Ayurveda, which nothing else, no other system has. So these are our strengths. And the weakness is the inadequacies in emergency management, life-saving drugs, high inconvenient dosage forms and bad taste of medicine, lack of professionalism in the management of institutions and various therapeutic modalities, lack of scientific data as envisaged by the modern scientists, recent concerns about heavy metal toxicity, rasaushadis, raw materials, etc. And the opportunities are also very immense. Non-communicable chronic lifestyle disorders and palliative care are our opportunities. Scope of geriatrics, aging population is there, and effect of Rasayana Chikitsa and degenerative disorders, global resurgence in Ayurveda, ability to work complementing with other systems, and this is also a very important factor we need to seriously think about. Formulation of a pragmatic national health policy based upon the preventive knowledge in Ayurveda and yoga, which can help the nation reduce its load on the cost of health care, at least in the field of non-communicable chronic lifestyle disorder management, and thus become a role model for the global population. And this thing, the threats are our negative points which we need to seriously discuss. Untruthful claims by exploiting the hopes of desperate patients, mushrooming of unreliable centers and propagating this system through tourism, and aggressive unscientific marketing strategies mislead the needy deserving candidates, and inadequate quality control and coordinating mechanisms of government level, lack of vision in handling the professional issues, Inadequacies in the field of education, lack of confidence in practicing system by the emerging young physicians, scarcity of genuine raw materials because of the vast deforestation and unorganized distribution, uncontrolled increase in the cost of raw material and manpower, which make the treatment unaffordable for a common person. So in a nutshell, what I would like to end the speech here, what is the role of Ayurveda in improving the quality of life? If you see that this is a principle in palliative medicine, here you can see the green thing is the hopes and ambitions of the patient. But we know in chronic problems, they slowly quality of life comes down. Here comes the real present reality, the red line, and the gap shows the quality of life or patient satisfaction. With what we need to do that actually with our resourcefulness and our effort, we should modify their expectations, because we can know that a 10-year-old crippled arthritis cannot be cured. But his quality of life can be improved. That we need to make them understand. And at the same time, with our resourcefulness, with our efforts, with a sincere effort of Pada Chatushtayam, this has to improve. Then the gap comes down and the patient satisfaction and quality of life improves. And to end the speech, this is a 16th century aphorism penned by an anonymous author, defines the role of physician: to cure sometimes, to relieve often, but to comfort always. With these few words, thank you very much for your kind attention, and I'm happy. Thank you for the organizers for calling me here.